evening. Now, this is the February 2024 meeting of West Rock Hill Township Supervisors. Before we get to the rest of the agenda, the first part is coming up for the Pledge of Allegiance. If you're helping to stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the Republic of the States of America, and indivisible, with liberty and justice. If we get these, okay, make sure I'm. And just a reminder for everybody who's new here, when you give public comment, the speakers in the back don't really pick up too well, so you have to go up to the podium and don't eat the speaker, but just make sure you go up to the podium so that you can be heard and it gets recorded when it goes into the YouTube channel, usually a day or two afterwards. The first item on the agenda is public comment. So we have a couple people here and one hand raised. If you'll come up. Oh, I thought I was. I can hear it pretty well. Okay, we got speakers directly above us, so I'm hearing it a lot louder than I guess you guys are. Sorry, I don't want to be doing Jimi Hendrix level feedback and having that. Okay, as I said, we have public comment on agenda items. The agenda is fairly long. If anybody is here with initial comments on the plans, the developments, Park and Rec, Police Commission, Holiday House Pool, let's come up and give us your thoughts now. We will also have some ability afterwards at the end of the meeting. So if anybody wants to come up and speak. Yep.
Angela Goodwin, 1730 Tabor Road. I'm just here on behalf of the pool. One of the things I'd like to address is why you're deciding to not participate with keeping the pool open when nothing was said to any of the residents here. Several years ago, we had a dog park that was put in. You sent out mailings for the dog park, the ice skating park, you know, and if we went to keep an ice skating ring, that really cost us nothing. But yet nothing was said about the pool. And I'd like to know why that was not addressed to the residents.
Fortunately, we are taking public comment, not public questions. So
Okay.
statements get addressed to the board. It's, you know, we are here to listen to you, but not necessarily answer questions, but we have been working towards that. And actually that will be coming up later on in the discussion with regard to motions and the explanation of the formal position from the board.
Okay.
So we will be getting to that.
All
So
right.
your questions are on point, but will be gotten to in a bit. Anybody else coming up? Okay, then our next point is we get to number 2, announcements. We're going to have executive session for real estate matters and personnel. And third portion, consent agenda. And I'll give that over to Greg to read in.
Before you have the consent agenda, which goes over the minutes, the plan review status, emergency services report, building and zoning report, building permit report, public works report, planning commission report, tax collectors report, Heritage House Festival at James Park, Penridge South Middle School baseball at James Park, and the treasurer's report, which I will read in. For January 31st, 2024, the general fund, $674,587.28. Highway aid, $31,506.21. Open space, $1,215,526.13. The park fund, $50,803.73. The equipment fund, $14,291.93. Highway capital, 138.48. Street light, $36,347.70. The general fund reserve, $483,525.63. The American Rescue Plan Fund, $527,002.89. Open Space Manderfield, $41,646.58. The Sewage Maintenance Fund, $205,989.96. The Stormwater Fund, $12,574.34, and the escrow funds, $2,462,544.03. Also payment of the bills.
Okay, I guess I had one question, which is how is the backhoe doing? So I know we had a couple of repairs and,
They've been working on the case backhoe. It is running.
okay. Then another, I guess, actually a question out to the audience is Park and Rec going to discuss, Penridge Little League or? Okay, no, because we did find out that Penridge Little League is going to be using the field again. So we had some question about that, but I guess that's technically outside. I have no other questions. Any other questions?
I have no questions. I read the report, so I would make a motion for approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay, we have confirmed appointments. We do not have any confirmed appointments. And we get to committee reports. And Mr. Rice.
All right, let's move on with the park. We got a lot of great events coming up this year. Let's hope for some, cross our fingers, cross our toes, eyes, everything, that we get some sunshine this year. No rain, no smog, no smoke, nothing, none of that garbage. We need some sunshine this year. So we have our 13th annual Fishing Derby coming up on April 13th from 9 to 12 on Saturday. Like I say, it's the 13th annual. In 14 years, besides the year of COVID, we've had a Fishing Derby and it's been successful. It's been great. The kids all come out and have a great time. It's a free event. We have sponsors that come and, just give and donate because they know what it's giving back to the kids in the community. So it's a great event. That's on April 13th, starting at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. On April 27th, the Liberty Trail Girl Scouts actually are going to, for the second year, have an Arbor Day event on the 27th, 10 to 1 p.m. They're actually going to donate trees again this year. So if they're going to fundraise, if they're going to hopefully have enough funds for 2 trees, and in the section 7, which I sent to the Board of Supervisors, so you know exactly where they're going to be planted, they're going to be fundraising hopefully enough funds for 2 trees. If not, the park in that section has already decided that we're going to have 3 trees there. So we decided that if the Girl Scouts are not able to afford 2, the park and rec would subsidize the 1 and or 2, depending on how many funds they have and how many trees they can provide. Because we want to have them all planted at the same time. It just makes sense. They're all red maples, and we plant all 3 of them at the same time. It's kind of like we did with the sycamores in the back of the park. So that is April 27th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's a great day. They actually have a lot of events. They have a beekeeper and all kinds of stuff like that they have, and you learn all kinds of different things. It was kind of a neat event, but again, it was rainy and muddy last year as well. So that is one thing I would ask the supervisors to be able to purchase 1 and or 2 trees, depending on what the Girl Scouts come back with us, what they're able to fundraise up until that point. So that would be my one request. Another one is we're looking to actually have dog park improvements. We're looking to move forward with some fact finding to see if we can expand the dog park, because you'd be amazed. We actually had to walk over there probably for 40 minutes, and there was 6 different people with 7 different dogs that were in a half an hour period. So it's getting a lot of use as far as the park, but it's kind of one big dog park. So we're looking to either subdivide it, expand it, have a couple sections, so that way it can be divided up so it's a little bit easier for multiple dogs to use at the same time. As well as we're looking for shade provisions. So maybe like one of those, I don't know, the fancy shade things that go over the park, and looking to do something like that. So that's one of the other questions and asks that we're looking from the Board of Supervisors, is if we can move forward with fact finding for the expansion of the park to whether we fund it or we have other subsidies to where we can fund it, whether we fundraise or we have other options for that, as well as the shade provisions. We also have Septemberfest coming up, September 29th, always a great day. We're not going to have rain this year. We're going to have sunshine. September 29th, Sunday, last Sunday in September, always. And this year, we kind of decided that we're going to move forward with the movie in the park in October and kind of have it more of a fall event because it seems to have a little bit more, I don't know, it seems a little bit, feature film on the fire is what we kind of called it last year. So that's what we're going to do and keep it in the fall so we have a little bit better, I don't want to say turnout, because in the summer there's sometimes too many people going too many places. So this will kind of, they're back in school, the kids are in school and they're able to come out and spend some time Saturday night out. We haven't decided the date of that yet, but that is all. And those are the two requests that we have for the Park and Rec. Other than that, I'm good. My report.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Dave, for the requests, for the dog park.
Yep.
I would recommend that maybe you get estimates of
Yep.
costs of what you may, want to do
That was one of the
and bring back.
reasons why we wanted
Yes.
to
Bring
let
back
you know
what the
yeah.
cost would be, and
Correct.
then of course the trees, you don't know yet whether they're going to support them, but you're not talking about a whole lot of money, I don't think.
No, last year the red maples were $229 a piece, I believe.
Yeah.
So not that terribly expensive. And I think the delivery fee was,
I don't have an issue myself supporting the trees. Of course, I would like to know what the dog park things would cost.
correct. Oh, yeah. No, we'll present it in the same way that we present like the trees and stuff like that. The same thing with the tree, the tree park plan.
Okay.
I have no other questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you. I have no problem with you doing some studies on expanding the dog park. It's probably necessary and a good thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
And I have no issues with the trees, also a good thing to do. The Girl Scouts, they're going to be here on Saturday, April 27th. Could you just check the time? You said 10 to 1.
10 a.m. to
I
1
have
p.m.
9 to 2 on that. Just,
Okay.
you can just shoot me an email privately, let me know on that. I just want to make sure that we're on this.
You have 9 to 2.
I had 9 to 2 from Kim Godchaux.
That could be, that could be set up before and after.
It could be.
It could be
All
set
right.
up as an hour before and an hour after, which makes sense. So I'll double check and I'll get back to you.
Thank you, David.
Anything else?
Nothing else?
All good?
I'm going to share a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the report as presented by David.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Schremeyer.
Evening. Since I mentioned this, I ought to use it too. The Conservation Committee held their last meeting on January 18th, 2024. And some of the highlights are Township newsletter. We submitted a preserved property scorecard and an article on planting a pollinator garden for the upcoming spring newsletter. Another note, Montgomery, this is actually in Montgomery Township, but Montgomery Township and Natural Lands Trust preserved the 560-acre Girl Scout camp, Laughing Waters, in Montgomery Township. So it's right next door to us, but as far as preservation, it's a very significant parcel of property. And my understanding is there's some other Boy Scout camps there too that are preserving their property. So there's a large area that's being preserved right in our neighborhood. The third thing is the Conservation Committee is planning on setting up a booth at various township events so that we can inform the township residents of what we do and talk to them and have a little bit more back and forth. And we're planning to set up a booth at the Fishing Derby on, is it April 15th?
13th.
13th? Okay. I have the date wrong there. And the Conservation Committee is requesting the Board of Supervisors approval for Greg to purchase a canopy for Conservation Committee use at the township events. And I think we plan on 3-4 of the township events per year. And you have the specifics in your packet. I can go over it if you want me to. Otherwise, you have it all. Size and cost and where to get it. And just for information, our conservation committee meetings are held on the third Thursday of odd numbered months, which puts the next meeting at March 21st, 2024. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No question. One comment, I remember seeing that apparently Natural Lands Trust worked with East Rock Hill to actually add to, I think it's the Indians, and pick up a couple of parcels over in the Quakertown swamp area,
Okay.
which is nice to see. I'm not sure if you guys are trying to, it might be worthwhile coordinating with Natural Lands Trust, because they've been, I know portions of the Quakertown swamp extend up into West Rock Hill, going up 3 Mile Run, and then actually similar conditions going out through into Butter Creek. I know that we have a couple of pop-up tents we use for September Fest, so I don't know if we have them all attributed for.
We'll have to talk to Park and Rec.
Yeah, because I know we don't have any that actually have the covers, but I know we've got a couple of them, but some of them are in rough condition, and most of them still really like eating your fingers if you aren't too careful putting them up.
Michael, I support if we need one. If we need one for your
Yes.
group, I support getting one. They don't cost that much money.
No, it's actually not that expensive. And our Boy Scout troop did a lot of research, and the scouts use them every month, so they're pretty tough on them.
Yeah.
So the one that we recommended is the same model, and it's like $300 for up to 300. So I think it's something that'll hold up for use. The really cheap ones, you can use them once and get one little bit of wind and they may be broken. So, all right, thank you.
Michael, I'd just like to say, as liaison to the Conservation Committee, I fully support the canopy. I mean, you use it at Fishing Derby, you use it at the Heritage House Festival, you use it at the September Fest, and probably many other places. So it's a good way to get the word out to the community on the importance of conserving property. And I know that you have a lot of paper type things that you have to protect from the weather. So I fully support it.
Okay, thank you.
And with that, I'll make a motion to approve the conservation report as presented.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we get to commission reports. Police Commission. Well, he knows he's first. I think you've done this before, so.
And it's been almost 3 years, so. All right, good evening. I have the January 2024 activity report. I didn't print a new one out, Greg, as you can see. So in the month of January, we responded to 783 calls for service. 329 of those calls were in East Rock Hill Township. 450 of them were in West Rock Hill Township, and 4 calls were assisting our neighboring agencies. The police department handled 32 traffic crashes in the month of January. Of those crashes, 18 were reportable, 14 were non-reportable. 14 occurred in East Rock Hill Township, and 18 occurred in West Rock Hill Township. Our crime activity for the month of January, we had 14 property crimes, 7 crimes against people, against a person, 2 crimes against society, and our Group B offenses, which are your more not as serious crimes. We had 3 of those reported. Those reported crimes included in East Rock Hill Township, threat and intimidation, 2 of those, 2 charges of harassment, 1 fraud report, 1 DUI crash, 2 burglary reports, 1 theft, 1 assault. West Rock Hill Township, 4 DUI crashes, 1 assault, 2 burglaries, 2 drug complaints, 4 fraud complaints, 4 harassment complaints, 1 public drunk, 1 sexual offense, 2 thefts, and 2 trespassings. For the month of January, the police department filed 77 criminal charges. Those criminal charges include 4 charges of theft by deception, 10 counts of identity theft, 13 counts of receiving stolen property, 8 counts of access device fraud, 2 forgeries, 1 charge of abuse of a care dependent person, 1 criminal use of a communication device, 1 charge of terroristic threats, 3 DUI charges, 1 theft by false impression, 1 access device fraud charge. That's 9 total of those. 1 charge of public drunk, 1 charge of drug possession with intent to deliver, 11 charges of drug possession charges, 13 possession of a prohibited, I'm sorry, not 13, I apologize. 3 possession of a prohibited weapon. We're not dealing with that many weapons, thankfully. 4 charges of burglary, 4 charges of criminal trespass, 2 charges of simple assault, 2 charges of harassment, 3 charges of theft of metals, and 1 charge of disorderly conduct. Other police activity for the month of January: 205 traffic enforcement details, 33 traffic citations were issued, 59 warnings were issued, 21 school checks were conducted, 150 park checks were conducted, and 36 hours of training was attended by the officers. So far for the year, which is just the month of January, 783 calls for service, 32 traffic accidents, 26 offenses, 72 criminal charges filed, and 36 hours of training were attended. That's your January 2024 report.
Thanks, Chief.
Well done.
Thank you, Chief.
How busy were you guys during the 2 snowstorms? Okay, or
Busy?
busy?
Busy. January was a very busy month. We had a lot of things
See
going
that.
on. We had a lot of balls in the air, and February hasn't been much better. So guys are busy. They're doing a great job.
Thank you for your efforts. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Chief. I live on Ridge Road, so there've been a bunch of times I've looked out the window and I can see 3 cars in the 100 feet between the telephone poles, and they're all doing 45 in the snow. It's like, that's just an accident waiting to happen when somebody hits the brakes. So I appreciate you guys coming out and being out and
No problem.
share everything for us. Okay, I have no questions.
I'll make a motion to accept the chief's report as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Motion passes. Okay, next item on the agenda is the Joint Rec Authority report, which on the report is given by Mr. Shermer. Actually, before Don comes up to speak, we have 2 things prior to that. So if you can hold on 1 second. The board has put together a response because we received a bunch of questions. So allow me to read the response, which is actually in the minutes and available. I try to not do my voice. A number of people have questioned our intentions with regard to the Holiday House pool. First, let me retract, walk back. This is the statement from the entire board. A number of people have questioned our intentions with regard to the Holiday House pool. Our community enjoyed the pool since about 1970 and have sentimental attachments. There have been many hardworking, dedicated people and businesses who have given their talents over the years to keep the pool going. For the 10 years prior to COVID, each municipality contributed between $13,000 and $15,000 annually to keep to the pool to cover expenses over and above the revenues generated by the pool itself. More recently, the cost of maintenance and repair of the pool have grown exponentially. The pool was closed in 2020 for COVID and was closed in 2022 because of staffing issues. When the pool reopened last year, the township paid over $50,000, and we are being told we need to contribute $6,000 more to meet last year's expenses. Why $56,000? The pool is getting older and needs money for maintenance. There are other more modern pools in the area which attract more families and reduce our attendance and revenue. There's no reason to believe that these issues will improve in the future. West Rock Hill Township cannot commit $56,000 every year to the pool without raising taxes, and this board works hard to keep our taxes low. We need to know what needs to be done to attract new people to the pool and what maintenance will be required over the next 10 years. To gather this information, we have commissioned a marketing study to help us determine what we need to do to attract and keep people coming to the pool and supporting its operation. After we get the results of the marketing study, we will then evaluate maintenance needs in order to develop a plan for the long-term sustainability of the pool. We understand that the people differ in their opinion as to whether to move forward with the expenses that will be necessary to allow the pool to continue operating. When the marketing study is complete and we have a solid understanding of the cost of physical improvements to the pool, we would like to place this matter on the November ballot for a referendum so that the residents of West Rock Hill can decide if they want to absorb the cost of continuing the operation of the pool. The question then turns to whether and how to fund the pool this summer. West Rock Hill Township has budgeted $13,000 for its contribution to the pool. It will not commit more money than that without voter approval. In the meantime, we encourage the community to support the pool by buying memberships and enrolling children in swimming lessons. Finally, many have questioned why we have not filled the vacancies on the authority board. We have been wrestling with the difficult decisions we need to make on the future of the pool. Until now, we did not want to appoint a member with no direction on the intention of the Board of Supervisors. We now have a plan and will find the best candidates to help us accomplish the objectives of this plan. So that is the official point from the supervisors. If there's any additional explanations or comments from.
I do. Yeah, with that said, I would like to make a motion. And I would like
Entertain the
to,
motion.
have the board consider, leasing the $13,000 we put in our budget for the pool, to the pool immediately.
I'd second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You're welcome.
Okay, we now have the report and my voice is pretty much gone, so I will.
You are supposed to read the report.
Right now, my voice is going as the chairman. Greg does write the agenda. Normally, the chairman.
Perhaps we have a township manager read it.
Yeah. A representative from West Rock Hill Township reads the joint pool report. That's the way it is to be done here. Now, if he can read the report, the manager can read the report. We're not gonna get into a debate here.
No.
No, he's the chief. He's a representative and a resident of West Rock Hill Township.
Okay, gentlemen, all conversation as the chairman of the board. Normally, the chairman sets any changes to the schedule, and I would like to recognize Mr. Krauthamel to read the report. It's my report. I can designate somebody else if I think I'm going to be losing my voice. I don't see a problem. I know that it's a question because all last 20-something years, the chairman of the board has been a West Rock Hill resident. This is discussion. I think we can figure this out. It doesn't matter who reads the report. It's going to be the same report.
Right, and that's why it's supposed to be done from a West Rock Hill
As the
resident.
chair,
A West Rock
as the
Hill
chairman
resident.
of the board, I am recognizing the chairman of my other. It's an independent authority that doesn't come up, but as the chairman of the board, normally discussions about what goes on the agenda are deferred to the decision of the chairman.
In this case, I believe you're going to be overruled by the other sitting members of the board.
Rules of order, the chairman sets the order of, and if there's a discussion, the chairman makes the decision. Because the chairman decides whether or not a motion gets recognized. It doesn't matter who reads the decision.
Exactly.
This is making a lot
It's
more.
my
we're taking
recommendation.
more time,
My recommendation that the township manager read the report.
and I've taken that under consideration, and I think that it can be done for years with the chairman of the board reading it. We want to have the report.
I share Mr. Collingwood's recommendation.
I know, but as the chairman, and I don't have a gavel, I believe I can. The other two members. Ask Mr. Krafthamel to read the report. If not, we'll play paper, scissors, rock until we figure this out.
Oh, we just want to hear it.
Go ahead.
The West Rock Hills Sellersville Joint Recreation Report, to February 21st, 2024. West Rock Hill Joint Recreation Authority met twice, since the last report. On January 23rd, 24, the authority held a special meeting to discuss whether plans to open the Holiday House for the 2024 swim season should proceed, considering the apparent reluctance of part of West Rock Hill Township supervisors to support the pool. The meeting was attended by approximately 50 residents of West Rock Hill Township and Sellersville Borough. During the meeting, which lasted over 2 hours, residents voiced their staunch support for the pool, and approximately 20 residents have signed up on various committees in support of the pool, and several people made spontaneous donations totaling $380. I should note here that in several days after this meeting, additional donations totaling $1,800 have been received. During this meeting and after the need for additional board members was explained, Angela Goodwin, a resident of West Rock Hill Township, offered to serve on the authority board. I believe she has submitted a letter to that effect and would take this opportunity to urge you to immediately appoint her and Shelley Milos to the Joint Recreation Board. At the close of this meeting, the board assured the audience it would give its full consideration to their expressed desire to see the pool open again this summer. The meeting was adjourned at approximately 9 p.m. On February 7th, 2024, the West Rock Hills Sellersville Joint Recreation Authority met for its normally monthly meeting with all board members in attendance. Also in attendance were numerous volunteers and residents of the community. The minutes from the January 3rd meeting were approved. The financial report was given. The income this year to date includes the $2,543 in memberships, sales, and another $3,619 in donations and other contributions. The total expenditures year to date have been $87.20. The financial report was approved. On the agenda, other items were discussed. Under old business, sewer easement, further discussion regarding the request of a sewer easement presented to the board in December and initially discussed in January was tabled until the March meeting when it was expected Select Properties, Inc. will be back for further discussion. Swimming lessons in 2024, it was initially agreed that the cost of swimming lessons will increase to $100 for group lessons and $200 for private lessons. Both group and private lessons are 8 lessons, included Monday, Thursday for 2 consecutive weeks for 45 minutes a day. There was a discussion whether the pool would be scheduled 1 or 2 sessions for group lessons, and then each session would begin and end, and when each session would begin and end. This is still to be determined. Morning activities, in addition to swimming lessons, other activities under further considerations, including Zumba and yoga. Adult swim, some interests are in scheduling adult swims either in the morning or alternatively periodically through the day. No decision was. Day camp, several day camp activities were included. Future Stars Day Camp. They have not received any word whether Future Stars will consider the pool this year. Mr. Shermer will make further inquiries. Coach White's summer camp is returning this year. The weeks are expected to be used. The Holiday House grounds are as follows: June 10th to the 14th, June 24th to the 28th, July 8th through the 12th, July 29th to August 2nd. Delaware Valley Day Camps have expressed an interest in partnering with Holiday House Pool to run a day camp at the Holiday House grounds. They're already doing this with discussions and proposals. The board expressed interest in seeing the presentation that was scheduled at next month's meeting in March. The snack stand. Roseanne Davis and Shelley Milkos have been looking for individuals who might run the snack stand at the Holiday House. As of last year, the vendor would rent the facility for a nominal amount in which would offset costs for electricities, etc. Several individuals have expressed some interest, but as of this date, no offers have been received. I can add that since the several vendors have been interviewed, and we should have selected one after our next meeting. New business, Paul Daniels is working to help with a planning grant through DCNR. Although this is not a committee, Paul has been doing research and helping to decide, is there an opportunity that we can take advantage of? We have a call scheduled with the grant administrator. Fundraising, Rose Ann Davis and Shelley Milkos are both working on volunteers who have signed up at our special meeting to put in place a fundraising events, several dine and donate events. Those are JT Bankers, which happened last night, February 28th, The Horse, April 4th at Rita's, and June 24th at the Perks. Promotions, since promotions or outreach and fundraising sometimes overlap, Roseanne and Shelley are also attempting ongoing attempts to make people throughout the Penridge area and community familiar with Holiday House Pool. Towards the end, the following has already been done. Applications have been mailed out, members of last year. Posters have been put up in the municipal buildings of East and West Rock Hills, Sellersville, Borough, Telford, Hilltown Township, Silverdale, and Dublin. Other posters are being put up in businesses throughout the area. Mass mailing went out to several hundred local businesses offering special advertising and other benefits to business that have become Holiday House sponsors. Efforts are going on to follow up calls and visits to many of those businesses. Emily Gallagher has volunteered to help with some of the social media efforts related and has designed ads for our Dine and Donate, which can also produce on posters. She's also designed an ad that will be printed on 60,000 to 70,000 Roy Ann Diner placemats in the next several months. Swim tags versus photo ID cards. Last year, it was felt that we lost a significant amount of revenue to daily admissions because members were sharing their swim tags with friends. While we do not know for certain this was the case, several people have suggested what we consider replacing our swim tags with photo IDs. Besides reducing lost revenue, would help pool staff get to know the swimmers by name and offer other benefits as well. Disadvantages are potential cost, difficulty in obtaining photos, and the administrative burden. As several people have offered to help implement system ID cards, it was agreed that we would continue to give further thought on this, and a decision must be made soon, however, as memberships are already being sold. Authorized purchases, motions were made and seconded for the following purchases: to have an existing tractor serviced, to contact JG Electric to install a new fan, an exhaust fan from the pool office, to order a new pump, which unfortunately will not be available until fall, to purchase a Square terminal to allow payments by credit cards, to advertise the existing sliding board sale and purchase new hardware kit should we be successful in finding a new buyer. Staff recruitment. Emails were sent out to all former staff members last year inviting them for applications for employment this year. To date, we have received applications for 2 managers, 12 lifeguards, and 5 individuals to work the front desk. We're also aware of several other individuals who expect to hear from soon. We already interviewed one of the candidates for pool manager and the interview scheduled with the other. Interviews for applicants for guards and front desk positions will begin this week. Finally, it should be mentioned that several board members met with the representative Ballard King to assist them in their completion of a market study. Later the same day, the conversation was continued with members of Sellersville Borough Council who provided their input. We hope that the conversations were productive and look forward to seeing a copy when it's available.
Oh, sure.
Do you know when we expect to hear from Ballard King?
Before our March meeting,
Okay, so we'll
Oh.
we'll have something for the public.
we'll have it on the public document. I'll put it on the website. So
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank you for the report. The report was very well done. This is what we've been looking for a long time. So, and Greg, you did a good job reading it. Thank you. With that being said, I'd entertain a motion to accept this report as presented.
I'll entertain the motion as the chairman.
Okay,
So you've made
I made,
your second.
Second.
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bella.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, have nothing listed on the agenda tonight, but I will report, we've advertised the 2024 culvert project bids. I expect to have those results for your next.
But the council members are sitting here. What's the status of Lawn Avenue being torn up and taken out by PennDOT coming up? We've been,
I have not seen anything recently about that.
I think it's in their long range plans, but I don't think there's anything immediate.
It's in their design
Right.
process.
They want to go all the way
That
to the
doesn't mean
bottom.
that it's scheduled for construction anytime.
Right, because they talked to us about the detour on Farmers Lane, and we talked about that about a month, about a year ago, we talked about that actually.
only because, last couple of days, I noticed they started marking out water mains, sewer mains, electric, gas on lawn. So I'm not sure if that's,
I believe Sellersville Borough is anticipating a project on Lawn Avenue upcoming this year.
PennDOT was gonna be rebuilding a lot of it, so I don't wanna, just don't have them start blinding stuff away before we've had figuring out how to get the detours and bypass. Becoming like farmers instead.
If I hear anything from PennDOT, I'll certainly let the break.
Okay, thank you. And solicitor's report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The first item on the solicitor's report this evening is authorization to advertise a hearing to consider the adoption of an ordinance which would renew our cable franchise with Comcast. And the proposed agreement, franchise agreement, is very similar to the ones that have been adopted in the past. The compensation to be gained by the township is the maximum provided by federal law. And I'd be looking for a motion to authorize advertisement, not only of the ordinance, but you also have to hold a hearing in conjunction with that to consider any complaints residents have with the suitability of the cable service.
I read through. The only question I have is that I noticed that it still uses television and broadcast. Some of the definitions. Have those been looked at over the last?
Yeah, it
Updated.
changes.
They have changed that to incorporate stuff that's fiber and digital and.
Well, actually, under the federal cable law, we can't get fees for certain services, internet services, for example. So it is just television.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Tonight, you want authorization to advertise. When do you need this hearing?
It's not urgent, but I was thinking next month. It's
Okay.
only a 7-day advertisement.
That's all I have. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Aye.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
The next item under the solicitor's report tonight is a resolution to approve the proposed Wawa on State Road. At the last meeting, you heard the presentation from Wawa. They've been before you for a number of different facets of this, including hours of operation, review of the zoning hearing board, the initial presentation of the project, and at the last month's meeting, you considered their land development plan review. So we have drafted a resolution in accordance with your discussion last month, and it is before you for your consideration. It would be Resolution 2024-03. And if you're so inclined, you can make a motion to adopt that.
Make the motion.
I will second it.
In favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you again. And the final item on the solicitor's report this evening is request for authorization to advertise a tax rebate ordinance. Mr. Lippincott brought this up at a meeting earlier this year, and the board authorized the preparation of this ordinance, which is in accordance with new initiatives at the state level to try and encourage more people to participate in fire companies and emergency service volunteer activities. And this ordinance lays out a method to get real estate tax rebates as a result of being active in your local fire company. So I would ask for authorization to advertise for a hearing on this ordinance at the March meeting.
I just have the comment that we actually have that, I know that our tax collector, Suzanne Clark, was very interested in this and actually has flyers for anybody who might know somebody, which are sitting out in the foyer when you leave. She's got the information for anybody who's a firefighter who you know. Grab one of the pieces of paperwork so that they know how to apply. That's for any. The form is applicable throughout Bucks County, and then what Straw Hill is creating its own ordinance to help back that up. So 2 in 1.
West Rock Hill can only adopt ordinances that affect West Rock Hill.
Four. We have 4 that represent us. Telford, Tylersport, Jumbarsville, and Sellersville. But residents of West Rock Hill would benefit.
If you're
Yes,
if you're a resident in West Rock Hill and you work for one of our great fire companies, you can get a bonus through the county, and now we're helping to back that up. And
I would make the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
To authorize.
To authorize, yes.
Yes, so authorized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have this evening.
Make a motion to approve the solicitor's report as presented.
I'll second it. Aye.
Aye.
I have nothing on the agenda. However, I received an email today. TH Properties is doing a development between Grandview Hospital and Hidden Meadows. One of the things that they have to get approval is the names of the roads. The supervisors approved the names. However, one of the names, Acorn Way, conflicts with another road in the Sellersville Post Office District. And so we can't name it Acorn Way. The suggestion is Red Oak Way. And if the board thinks Red Oak Way is okay, I will put it on the consent agenda at next month's.
I have no problem with that.
I have no problem.
All right, I will put it on next month's agenda under the consent agenda. That's all I have.
Okay. And we come up to old business. The only thing I have for old business is going back and thanking the chief for putting out one of the speed limit speed readers in front of Fasagio's, where we had a long-term problem with people flying around the corner. And I do like the idea of following what has happened. I think Sellersville has a solar powered radar at the bottom of White Horse Hill that we might want to look into, because everybody is flying down Ridge Road, and especially as you come in on that little section going through Almont, it's a pretty tight curve and there's almost no sight distance.
I have one thing under old business. I want to express that I've had some compliments from residents, Circle Drive, and there was another development on the job that our public works did during the snowstorms, snow plowing and salting. So I just wanted to share that. A lot of times, you know, we face criticism on certain things. I've had some great compliments, so thank the public works team for us.
So,
Nothing here.
okay, we get to new business. The only thing what occurs to me for new business is that in the joint rec review, mentored Mr. Daniels looking at grants, and I see Mr. Daniels here. You can have you had any success that you want to relate to us, or is it still a project? No.
If you don't go to the mic, it won't be recorded on YouTube.
We have done a lot of research, Mr. Crowdhavel and I, and we have an appointment with the regional manager who covers Bucks and Delaware counties for next week. What has to happen first is that we have to apply for a feasibility study grant. And there won't be any development grant entertained until there has been a successful completion of the feasibility study. So it'll be a several-year process probably before funds are actually available. And that, of course, assumes that the grants will be successfully obtained. There's always the chance that you can go through all the process of applying, which sometimes involves expense, and then ultimately you don't receive the grant. So there's an element of chance there. But I'm estimating that if funds eventually were to become available, I'd say about 2027 is when we could start doing something by way of development. Sure.
Also, I know that there's a fundraiser, which I did not, so I had to prep something. My day job, last minute. Is anybody able to give a summary of JT Bankers? No, I think but you have to be on the microphone.
Yeah, thank you. We had the first of 4 scheduled dine and donates last night. It was at JT Bankers. The place was packed. We don't know what the total profit was from it. I know that just through the raffle baskets and the 50-50 that were there, we made close to $1,400. We'll know better what the food and the drink receipts were probably in a few days. We have another dine and donate coming up just next week at the Horse, as was read in the report. Rita's is further on in I forget what, it might be April. And we have another larger one at the Perk in, I think it's June. I'm not sure about that. And the Ram, that's right. There's another one scheduled for the Ram coming up. And we're continuing to look into other possibilities for that sort of thing. So it was a very, very successful night. As we were leaving, my wife asked one of the staff if it was a good night for a Tuesday. And they said this was a good night for any night of the week. So it was, thank you for coming out, everyone who did. We appreciate the support.
There's a public comment if we have any from anybody. Let's go. And name and address and.
My name is Donna McDevitt. I live 6 Kittery Court in Sellersville. I am here to give my total 150% support to the Holiday House pool. I don't think any of you besides Hal has any idea how important that facility is to this neighborhood. It's a wellness place. It brings the kids together. It's all we have in Sellersville and West Rock Hill. Tell me another pool we have right around here that our kids can facilitate and use without having to parents drive them somewhere. You know, the pool's old. It needs help. No guarantee. Look at the beautiful Percy Regional Authority building up the road to Cupfield. Things change. We need fundraising. We need your help. Help this guy with some grants. Help us. You got money for canopies. If you got money for that, every little bit is going to help us. We want this poll really, really bad. People love it. The turnout we had, the turnout last night really proves it. And we need your support. We don't need drama. We don't need the negativity. We need your help. And we really want you to support us, not go against us. And this study, you know, I'm glad you're going to do it, but I would have preferred to see that money go towards the pool and to help us to make it. The better we get with that pool, the more memberships we're going to get, and the better it's going to become more and more, just like Menlo had to do, just like Quakertown. Look at all the facilities around us. They all had to go through probably a really bad crunch to come up above us. And we can do this. We got more people moving into the areas. We're building more developments. We're getting people from Percy all the time, people from Quakertown. They love our pool because it's not crazy. We don't need all the hoopla. We just want a simple, but please help us to keep that pool going and open. We would really appreciate it. So that's it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I appreciate everybody's support in this also. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Pamela West. I'm at 2440 Shoecraft Road, Quakertown. I'm representing the Citizens for Concerned Clean Air. Our residents opposing the Adelphia Gateway Quakertown compressor station. We'd like you to know that we will be in front of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. We'll hear the oral arguments on our case for the residents of Pennsylvania. The hearing will be on Tuesday, March 5th in the Philadelphia Supreme Court, courtroom 456 in City Hall, with a report time of 9 o'clock. This natural gas compressor station is a source of pollution for our township, Bucks County, and Pennsylvania. The Adelphia Gateway Pipeline Plan states that the Quakertown compressor will release tons of nitrogen oxide gas into the air. Since they started operating the compressor, they have done exactly this. The gas releases have been documented by the PA, DEP, and by FERC, the FERC docket CP 18-46, with noxious effects reported by nearby residents. The PA Constitution in Article 27 states that citizens of Pennsylvania have a constitutional right to clean air. Citizens for Clean Air believe that Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection violated the state's clean air regulation when it awarded the Adelphia project a construction permit. There was never an environmental impact assessment done. Citizens for Clean Air appealed the decision. We have threaded our way through multiple courts. We have won before the Commonwealth Court, the Federal District Court, and the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. We are curious and hopeful for a meeting with the PA Supreme Court on March 5th. We hope that others would consider attending this hearing and supporting our cause to protect the air we all share. To learn more, you can go to www.protecttheairweallshare.com. Thank you.
Would mention, as an attorney, courtroom 456 is one of the older, really, really nice courtrooms in City Hall. I've been there once or twice for cases. And if I remember, Pennsylvania Cable Company, which is sort of the C-SPAN for Pennsylvania, they're Verizon Channel 9. Sometimes they do broadcast the Pennsylvania Supreme Court arguments. I'm not sure if this is on their list to go, but if anybody is going down, you have to go into the northwest corner of City Hall, and it's basically go down to Calmer, actually go down to Lansdale, because the train runs every half hour instead of Calmer runs every hour, so it's a little bit easier to get back down to Jefferson Station, and then spend the morning and enjoy being in Philadelphia for a little bit. If anybody I'm not sure. That's on the Pennsylvania Cable Network, PCN. They do broadcast the Supreme Court, Pennsylvania Superior Court, and the Pennsylvania Commonwealth Court. I said Verizon Channel 9, they also have their own website. If you're a attorney or a law geek, then you sit there and you listen and you get to see what you get to read the different judges and see how they react to them so that you know what not to say to tick them off next time you're in front of them. And listen to some really good arguments on the court cases. So thanks for coming up. Any other public comment?
People, you're looking for all.
Oh, I think I can manage.
I think Mary knows me.
Right.
I'm here to talk about the fire companies again.
And your name is?
Donald White, I'm sorry. Excuse me. West Rock Hill is, as I've said in the past, is definitely not paying our fair share to the fire companies. We spend about $100,000 a year and we divide that among 4 fire companies. We're not pulling our weight. We're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. It's wrong, and it's just, we got to do better than this. I understand you gentlemen do not want to raise taxes. What I'm requesting is what you're going to do already for the swimming pool. I'm requesting that you put a referendum on the next ballot asking the residents of West Rock Hill if they are willing to support the fire companies. I am positive and convinced they are willing to support the fire companies. That will take the burden of a tax increase off of you. I think the tax is now at 0.75 of a mill, and I think it should go to the full 3 mills. I am requesting, and I'm sure the fire companies would support me on this, that you support a referendum on the next agenda, on the next election in November.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Oh, yes.
Just so you understand, there's only certain things in Pennsylvania that can be referendum items. And unless you're going over that 3 mil limit, at 3 mils, they won't accept it as a referendum question.
I'm not going to argue with him, Mary. Obviously, he's more than this than me. All I will say is I talked to our Mr. Stacks, and this was his suggestion.
Okay, I can only tell you what I know.
Okay.
There is provisions for, unless there's a provision for a referendum, there can't be a referendum and
All
have
right,
to be
so that's-
specifically authorized.
Let's go 1/10 of a mill over 3 mills and put it on as a referendum.
That's not my call. I didn't want to leave you with the misassumption that we could.
Reach out to, let's just reach out to Representative Stats and see if he has any other good ideas.
You really don't need, if you're not going to, if you can't do a referendum, then it's up to you 3 gentlemen to say, hey, we need to support the fire companies. And, that's pretty much that simple. You either support them or you don't. And we're not supporting them at this point. I guess my other curiosity, and I'm sure everybody else has a curiosity about it, we have hundreds of thousands of dollars from the federal government sitting somewhere that's nobody's even discussing what we're going to spend it on. Kind of curious why there's no discussion about that.
Public comment.
Yeah, I was here at the last, this is Don Kraut. I'm Don Krauthammer. I live in Sellersville, 135 Green Street in Sellersville. I was here last month when Mr. White raised the same topic. And I just wanted to reinforce what he said and add just a little bit more. As a member of council in Sellersville, I can tell you that Sellersville, a year or so ago, passed a 3 mil tax, which brings in a little bit over $100,000 for our fire department. I believe West Rock Hill's assessment is less than a mil at the moment, and that is, as was pointed out earlier, spread between 4 fire companies. I can also tell you that we get a report from the fire department every month, and every month, at least a third to sometimes over a half of the calls that Sellersville Fire Department responds to are in West Rock Hill Township. So it's pretty obvious that the residents in Sellersville are subsidizing some of your fire protection. I think you just might want to be aware of that. Thank you. One last thing, the reason we passed that fire protection tax was to help take some of the burden off of the individual firefighters. Firefighters, as some people may not know, besides having to report to fires and do maintenance and show up at meetings, are also tasked with having to participate in various fundraisers each month. This is a huge burden on a declining fire force. So we felt that by contributing a relatively small amount of money each year, individuals were making it possible for firefighters to spend more time with their families and less time running bingo and hoagie sales and everything else to keep the equipment up to date. If the fire force and the EMS volunteers continue to decline at the rate that they are, at some point you will be forced to consider a paid fire department. And I can tell you that that will raise your taxes big time.
Anybody else for public comment? So going once, going twice. Oh, they don't have a gavel, but we'll end public comment. And so the next thing is I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I will second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you, everybody. We have a executive session afterwards. So as I say, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.